Sayulita Wellness, home of your inner peace.
Hi, this is Haley with Sayulita Wellness Retreat, and I'm here with Laura and Kai, who just attended a beautiful couples retreat at our center. And welcome, you guys. How are you today?
We're good.
Good.
Good. We're in Minnesota and it's rainy today, but we need the rain, so it's kind of refreshing, to green everything up and
Exactly. It's all about the balance. Well, thank you guys for making the time to talk. And I know that you just had an amazing experience. So we'll kind of dive into it and just hear a little bit about what the trip was like for you. So, just to start off, why did you guys come to this retreat? What brought you to this?
I for the past throughout my life and since teenage years, I struggled with depression. And about 10 years ago, I had a breakdown and was diagnosed with complex PTSD. So, along with that, became depression, anxiety, panic attacks, night terrors. I mean, just the whole gamut, and unhealthy coping mechanisms to deal with this. And for the past 9 years, I've been on SSRIs. Probably I've tried everyone out there, and therapy with my therapist twice a week. And I just wasn't reaching my full potential. It wasn't doing anything.
I think her body just became so used to the level that she was at of the medication. They did try some of the little catalyst ones that work alongside of the kind of the macro antidepressants to see
boosters,
if they could get them to work
yeah.
better, and that just had even worse effects on her. So we were kind of at our wits' end because I was watching her slowly decline and basically not living the life she should be living, and the meds just weren't doing it anymore. They tried different things that made her worse, and so we weren't sure what to try next.
And so we had heard about the retreat. Kai's brother had brought his son down, and then he sent his daughter down, and so we started to do research on it. I mean, they had really good results and amazing experience, and we started to do research on it, and it was like, why not? Why not try something different? Let's take that leap of faith and just try something different, I guess.
And initially the thought was we're just going to send Laura down there and see because it was more trying to get her off the meds that didn't seem to be working anymore for her. But as we talked about it, it seemed more stressful and more of kind of a pretty big ask for her to go down to Mexico by herself and do this, considering where she was at with everything. So we decided to do more of a couples retreat. And as we kind of got closer and closer to her, I kind of started looking at myself thinking, this could be just awesome for me. And it was.
Because through my trauma, he experiences trauma, being he's not my caregiver, but he's my rock. He's my support, my team. But he has formed a form of PTSD from my PTSD.
Yeah, they do. I know. Remember our first call, and I was saying that another therapist who I've spoken with about, he does work with families of PTSD, and it really he says it becomes contagious. Like it really can affect and infect other members of the family, almost like spreading like a virus or something. So,
Yep.
I'm really so glad that you both were able to come together and not just address like, your individual healing, but then also kind of the couple's healing and coming back together and, kind of remembering how good it feels when you both feel good and both feel nourished and supported. So I'm excited to talk about that part as well. But I'm so happy that Kai, you got some time for yourself, and Laura, you had some time for yourself, but then you also had time like together to kind of just celebrate being alive again and find that joy together. And I know Kai describes you, Laura, like he's like, I just call Laura my spark plug, and he's like, I just want her to,
Yep.
I just want to get that spark, help her feel like she has that spark back in her. And he's like, even if there's a little glimmer, like that's all I'm looking for her. To just
She started firing again.
Yeah.
So finally we scraped some of the carbon off, and
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know, Laura, you've been through a lot and it makes sense why you experiencing what you were, but I'm so glad that you have explored this option and found help and support. So kind of let's dive into it. So, Laura and Kai, do you guys want to share a little bit individually what you experienced, from the both the mushroom ceremonies or the MDMA? We can talk about mushrooms first and then, save the MDMA for another
Yeah.
question.
Okay, so I was nervous about the mushroom therapy because I've drank alcohol or I've smoked marijuana when I was younger, but I've never done different plant medicines. And
Right.
so it was kind of like I was nervous going into it on what to expect and that. And But the minute I got to the retreat, all of my nerves were calmed. They just it was like, bring it on. Let's do this, And we did the ceremony and with Steffi the shaman, and we both we did 2 macro doses while we were there. So the first one, they you take the medicine, and then we went into our bedroom, and Kai was on one side of the room, I was on the other, and we had the 2 most beautiful nurses with us the whole time. For a while I'm laying there and I'm like, okay, is it happening? You're just waiting in this anticipation, or is this what I'm supposed to be feeling? And that was probably for about like 45 minutes and kind of nothing was happening. And then Steffi came in and she said, okay, I'm going to give you your second dose. And this is going to, she described it, tip you over to release. And I took that and yep, it tips you over. You're on this comfortable mat and you've got a blanket and pillows and an eye mask and candles and beautiful music. And my experience, how do I word it? It was difficult, but it wasn't so difficult I couldn't go through it. It kind of took me back, and I could feel, because I was sexually abused as a child. I was neglected by my mom. I was in an abusive relationship before Kai. And what it did is it took me back to my pain and let me see my pain from a different perspective, and then let me feel my pain, emotional pain. To the point I know it was hard on Kai because I was crying. And screaming at times, and just purging, like letting out
The feeling.
all that I had suppressed. And then I'd get to the point where I was like, oh my God, I can't take the pain anymore. And then it just released. And I felt this amazing peace come over my body. And then I just started laughing with joy. Like Kai could hear me, like,
I'm laying over in my little state, and I didn't get very deep into it for a long time, but she'd go from these agonizing moans and screams, and just, you could tell she was dealing with bad stuff. And then she just let out this belly laugh, which I hadn't heard for probably 5 or 6 years.
Uncontrollable.
Awesome.
And I'd experience that joy. And then what would suck is I'd have to go back into another area of pain, so it was kind of like a roller coaster. And then I'd feel the pain, hit the top, and then release. But the whole time I was doing it, I knew I was safe. I had my nurse, Jessie, next to me, and she was, right next to me, holding my hand when I needed it, giving me water when I needed it. Steffi, the shaman, came in and she was doing body work on me and pressure points and spraying my feet with water. Just all these tools she had, but never interrupting it because I had to go through it. And it lasted 2.5, 3
I
hours.
think 3 hours, maybe even 3.5, but it was a while.
Yep, of this. And when it finally started to wear off, I was exhausted. I mean, my whole body felt like it had been through a marathon. But I felt openness. I felt I had more room to take in, where before I felt I had no more room to take another thing.
Yeah.
And so it was really beautiful. It was, the amount of release, like when I got done, I mean, we're in this beautiful room and we have patio doors that you open up to the ocean. And I remember this slightly because I was just kind of coming out and getting back and getting grounded. But Kai saw me, and do you want to share what you saw?
Yeah,
or?
so after we were both coming out of it, I heard her say across the room, "Is it okay if I go to him?" And you have this urge you're missing her the whole time you're going through. I'm missing her, she's missing me, and you just can't wait to get back to him and give him a hug. Well, she came over while I still had my mask on, and she just curled up next to me, which was great. And I think I realized I had to use the bathroom, so I got up to use the bathroom. She went to the window, and when I came out of the bathroom, I see her silhouette looking out at the ocean. We're about, 150, 200 feet over the ocean. The view was incredible.
Yeah.
She's got the sliding glass door cracked open about 2-3 feet. She's got the drapes coming down over her shoulders, and I hear her say, "I can see."
Yeah.
And I took a picture of it, kind of like right after she said, "I can see." I got my phone quick, took a picture of that. I got 2 pictures of her, but yeah, it was a beautiful, magical moment because she had just come out of it. She'd just gone through what sounded like hell, but then she ended up with laughter, and then ended up, coming over to me, and we held each other. And then it took us a while to kind of come out of it. You could just feel she was, she wasn't just 5'4". She was 7 feet tall for a while there.
I'm
understanding,
only 5'2".
well, whatever. But,
you're giving me inches.
but you could tell there was relief there. And we got asked at one time, if you had to describe what the release was it 90% of all the bad stuff's gone? Like, nope. It's probably like 60 or 70% or something like that. But now we know it can be released. We know what it feels like to release it, because it feels like there's, Laura said it a good way. You're making room for the good stuff because you're getting rid of the bad stuff. It's just like cleaning out your garage. It's like, get rid of it. Why do you even have it? It has no value to it anymore, but you've been carrying it anyway. Get rid of it. And all of a sudden there's this inflow of positive stuff that you've been not ignoring, but you can't grab onto it because I'm not describing it well, but all of a sudden there's this feeling of, wow, it can be a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. And Steffi, the shaman, I cannot, she was my angel. And the work she did with me, and like the next day, just to share a little piece of this, during my journey, in the beginning, I kept seeing this animal, and I'd see this animal's face with red eyes, but I couldn't pick out what kind of animal it was. You just saw it. And the next day she came to check in on us, and she said, "Laura, while you were in your therapy, I was drawing and I saw this animal come out of you." And she showed me her drawing, and it was that animal that I was envisioning. Really powerful stuff.
How that happens, I don't know, but really, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow.
Well, and your experience?
Yeah. So the first macrodose we did together in the room, I was so concerned about her and how it was going to go for her, if it got real dark or not. And I don't know if it got dark, but it got hard.
It was hard. I wasn't scared, but it was work,
Yeah.
But I wouldn't allow myself to slip into to really relax and let the medicine just take over me, because I just wanted to make sure she was okay. But after about, I don't know, the 7th or 8th cycle of her going through the pain, purging, and then laughing about it after, every time it got shorter, and every time the laughter lasted longer than the pain. So I could tell she was on the good side of this whole process. So towards the very end of it, I let myself just kind of slip into it just for a little bit. And I could tell I was willing to let that go and not pay attention to it. And it felt like a very short period of time. But in that short period of time, I felt totally relaxed and just felt this overwhelming feeling of gratitude. And it wasn't love and something, it was just gratitude. Like, wow, I'm so fortunate. And then she came over and we both came out of it. And then we had 2 or 3 days in between the next macro dose.
Yep. And then we got the next macro dose
and we separated from 2 different rooms.
I told him he needed to go process, in a different room, that I really wanted him to get the full experience. So that would be like my recommendation to couples, And what was funny was we kind of switched spots. During the first macro dose, he was so worried about me, it was hard for him to get into it. When we did the second and we were separated, my love and care for him, I was so worried about him and wanted him to embrace it that I didn't really get into it.
She didn't have any reaction at all to the second macro dose.
But like Steffi explained, the medicine knows. And the medicine maybe knew that my body maybe couldn't take going through another high and low like I did. And the medicine was also like my gift with the medicine was giving it to Kai so that Kai could experience. And then his second experience was
the second experience is much deeper. I mean, she gave me the initial dose. You take that, I got relaxed, but it wasn't really in a euphoric state. And then she came and gave me the second part of it. And then I just felt myself not numb, but just got euphoric and just got relaxed and just knew that I knew she was okay because I had seen how they treated her before. So the worry of her was gone. And I just let myself go on the journey. And it was not a whole lot of imagery or anything, just a lot of like blurry lines and sensations. But the part of it there are 3 things that were really apparent to me. One of them was forgiveness, self-forgiveness, asking other people for forgiveness, and then forgiving others. So it was really 3 parts of forgiveness, and parts of my life came to me pretty clearly, and I sorted through each one of them. But there was a point where I felt I could tell I felt like I was floating and on my back. And I felt like I was underwater. And I don't know if it was like a layer of ice, but there was an open part right above me, and I could kind of see through. And didn't see specific faces or images, but knew that I saw all these lines up above me. And instead of thinking I'm going to drown under this water, because I was under the water, I realized that everything I was looking at above me around the rim that I was seeing where the opening was just people in my life that cared about me. And okay, well, there's everybody that cares about me. So what is this that I'm in? And I was immersed in their love.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I'm not that creative of a guy, but that this all came to me, and it's like, wow, so that's what it's expressing to me. Instead of worrying about the next thing, just know that you've got all this around you. You're not just getting sprinkled on you. You're submerged in it, and it's everywhere. So again, you get this overflowing feeling of gratitude and of appreciation for people in your life, appreciation of yourself and how blessed you are and stuff. And it was just wonderful. And then we got into purging some of the stuff from my past that was difficult. A divorce, and my parents got divorced, and just some small little things. Nothing as blatantly traumatic as what I'm sure a lot of people have had to survive through, including Laura and stuff. But so I felt a little guilty even being there, taking up the time to do it. But then in being there, it's like, wow, there was some stuff to let go of, because when I did, same thing, you felt this release, and you felt this like why have I been doing this for so long? Meaning carrying it, absolutely worthless cargo. Got rid of it and felt this overwhelming feeling of, okay, bring it on. I got capacity now. Now I can do better. And same thing. When I came out of mine, and I don't know if it's because I had watched what she did, but they had me laying on the floor right in front of the sliding glass doors. I took the little yoga mat and put it forward, and because I like to be comfy, and sat in a yoga position, which is not easy for me to do. But I think I sat there for like 20 minutes and didn't even feel my legs. Open up the drapes, put them over my shoulders, crack the window a little bit, and just looked out. And same thing. The greens I could see, the birds flying by, the waves, everything was on hyperdrive. It was the colors were clear. I could smell stuff, which I normally can't smell anything. It's like, so this is what I've been missing, and I didn't even know I was missing it.
Wow.
And it's awesome. And then she made her way back over to me too after a while. I think we were still sitting in the position, right, when you guys came up?
No, you were snuggled in.
Oh, was it? Okay.
So we just curled into each other and just felt the love.
But it was wonderful. I mean, it's, and I don't know how you describe it other than, and I know every single one is unique. You know, it's a personal journey for each specific person and their past, and you know what they're carrying. But I think even people that think they have a perfect life should sit down and go through this. And I think they'll be very surprised how much baggage they're carrying. Because I thought I got stuff, but there's no problem. It was a problem.
Yeah. I think everybody's carrying around something, and sometimes you're carrying things for other people or generation, even ancestors. Like, we've had come through and realize that they were clearing something that's happened to their parent or grandparent or even like great grandparent, and they could see like the work they were doing, how it changed that. So, it's not always just for you. It's for everyone that came before. And thank you guys so much for doing the work, and it's not always easy, but it is like so worth it, right? Like, I mean, the release on the other side and the love and creating that space within yourself to receive more. Laura, I know exactly that feeling of like when you feel like your cup is full, but not of the good stuff. It's like you have no space for anyone else to pour anything into there, even the good, even good. You're like, I can't receive, I can't give. Like you're just full capacity, and so you got to pour that like emotional water out and create space and like just clear that system. But it's definitely hard, and I think then also the hard part comes from like Kai, what you realize, why have I been holding on to this, or like it's
some pieces didn't even know I was. I thought, oh, I'm over that. It's done. You know, I dealt with that a long time ago. It's like not really the way I needed to.
Yeah, we've had a lot of clients say that with forgiveness and then that's been the common theme, forgiveness for themselves and for others of like, I thought that I had forgiven myself for this thing, but turns out that I hadn't. And so you never really know until you're it's almost like a fine-tooth dental cleaning for like your emotions. Not always comfortable, but it's good for your health. And But when you described Laura standing there in the window, I was picturing an angel with the wings, like the drapes were
That's what she looked like. To me, it's exactly what I saw. It's like, oh my God, she's back.
Yeah.
It was that was worth the whole trip, just seeing her there. And I took pictures, but they don't do it justice because she was kind of looking around at me and stuff by then. And
Laura,
I missed them.
So I'd love to kind of hear as well, like just it must have felt, first of all, amazing to hug each other at the end of each of those ceremonies, right? Of just like, like one of the best.
We couldn't wait to get to each other, and then just be.
Yeah, just to each other again. And then, so, in the days between ceremonies, did you start to notice some shifts in each other already? Like, were there some changes you started to see before the second ceremony?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were more relaxed. You know what I mean? Like you're in this beautiful place surrounded by these beautiful people. I mean, and so I felt like we started to actually see each other, where before I'd look at Kai and be like, oh, I love him. He's handsome. That's my partner, But we'd sit there and we'd all be talking at the table and I'd look across and I could actually see him and see his beauty and his love for me and my love for him. And I mean, I guess
it just allowed you to, I mean, we were connecting at a deeper level because in the day-to-day distractions of what we deal with every day in life here, you know, in our little suburban house and stuff, it's hard to take the time to just sit and reflect on what you've really got instead of just churning on to the next task.
yeah.
But the beauty of that place is that there was also, you know, everybody's down there, maybe not for the same reason of what needs to be healed, but everybody's on the same journey to try to heal. So all they're trying to do, everybody's trying to share their history, what they got out of the experience, what they're hoping to do going forward in their lives. And it's like a little, I don't know how to, it's like another macro or micro family that we have now. And I mean, I can say we truly deeply care about these people. And you hear this all the time, but you know, you're supposed to be a good person. You always say, well, you never know that person's story. Maybe they're acting that way because of who knows, and maybe they're in a bad mood and screaming because of who knows. But nobody ever really drills into it. They just kind of skip off and say, yeah, they're having issues, but I care for them and stuff. But in this way, outside of ourselves, we got to really get to experience these people and get to know them in depth. And it's a pretty cool thing. And I don't know how that would ever happen around here. And we're going to try to get better at it, to try to replicate this experience with the people we care about and stuff. But the way you're unplugged and the way you go into this, a lot of thought beforehand. And like in Laura's case, she had to go through getting off the medications, and it was a nightmare for more for her, but to watch it. And then I called you a few days before and said, I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't know what to do, because
the withdrawal was with that medication was.
I couldn't get her out of bed, let alone get her to an airport and hop on 2 different flights to come to a different country. And yet she rocked it. 2 days before the thing, she just said, I really want to make this happen. And you could tell she was locked in on it. And what all had to happen inside her to make it happen, because it was a lot, but she figured it out and did it.
She's so strong. Yeah, no, I remember talking to Kai, I think twice on the phone, and Laura we texted a bunch. And, you know, I know that what you went through was not easy to prepare, but I do believe like the more serious people take the preparation, not everyone has to come off the medications, but I would say about 60 to 70% of people are coming off of some kind of medication going into this. So your experience is not, you know, you're not alone. That's really pretty common. But it doesn't mean it's easy. So, but the more you
were amazing. Like you were the support you provided and the encouragement. And you were part of the reason where I kept fighting to get down there or to get home. I call it, you know, it was like, I was trying to get home because I knew once I got there, I was going to be safe and in good hands, and I was going to heal.
Yeah. And you did it, but it was like, here's this little like candle of hope, like follow the light. Like,
yep. But what's sad about it is I think of how easy it was for her. And I was on them for a little while too. I had gone through a divorce, and I was on Wellbutrin, and they gave me Prozac for like a week. I didn't like that stuff at all, but how easy they put her on it and say, okay, here it is. Now you're okay. Everything's fine. And 9 years later, it's like, okay, we don't want to be doing this stuff anymore. So how do we get off of this? And they'll look at you like deer in headlights. Like, well, you know, drink tea. So really? Because that doesn't really do it. But
anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, I mean, on the other side, how are you feeling now, Laura? Like, I know that you've gone through all of this. So like, how are you feeling kind of that energy return that you were looking for? Like some of that, you know, you've been through a lot. I know that it takes a lot of rest afterwards to integrate. It really does, especially when you're releasing so much. But how are you guys feeling now kind of being home? And I do want to touch back on like the MDMA ceremony as well.
We talk a lot. We'll try to shorten our answers.
I'm sure you can just give people the cliff notes.
No one's going to want to watch all this.
Yeah.
So coming home, I mean, it's an adjustment. You know what I mean? It is, you know, we stayed down there for 7 days. So we were embraced in this beautiful place this beautiful home, the love that surrounds us, you know what I mean? For that 7 days, and where we didn't have responsibilities like you do once you come back home. I mean, your life is still waiting for you, you know? And so we came back home, but before we came home, we set like intentions.
Yeah.
And like, one of my intentions was not to get back on my medication, because I don't want to go through the hell of getting off of it again. Like, sorry, I said hell.
You can say whatever you want.
And
It's cute.
like another intention is to have more pillow talk with Kai, more deep talks, more connection every day, you know, like taking 20 minutes out of every day just to check in and be like, how are you? How are you feeling? What, you know? Another intention was to hold each other accountable, where if I see Kai falling back on old habits or things that weren't healthy and positive to us, to call each other out with love, you know? And so coming home, I was nervous to come home. We've been home for about
It's been
almost a week.
Yeah.
Almost a week now. And it's work. But it's good work. It's I guess like I learned so much down there and so many tools on how to deal with the anxiety, with the depression, with the panic. And so I'm utilizing those tools and calmness. My daughter, we have 5 kids together, and we have a 17-year-old still at home. And she has just noticed this immense change about me, that I can go with the flow. I'm calm. I'm laughing. I'm happy. And, you know, and like anybody who struggles with anxiety or PTSD, I mean, that anxiety didn't just magically go away. It's still there. I'm still coming off my medication, you know. But when it comes, I acknowledge it, and it's like, yep, you're there. But you know what? I don't need you right now. You know, you're not serving a purpose. It's okay. I can let you go. And so I talk to myself a lot. But new practices, you know, I learned so many new practices. And I'm actually, when I wake up in the morning, I'm excited to get out of bed. And I have not felt that in 10 years. And so that's a shift. We experienced a sound bath while we were there from Alex, who is a magical man.
That was cool.
And I came home, I found a sound bath place, which is 10 minutes from us. And tomorrow, Kai and I are doing a sound bath. Like we're bringing what we were taught home to integrate it into our life.
It's so helpful to have those intentions to ground back in, so that, I know like journaling is a part of the program, and it's like, it's just nice to like have those reflections to look back at. And when you experience that feeling of joy, it's like, you know, you open up what's possible for your life, of like how much more love and peace and acceptance you can feel within yourself. And then you're like, even if you're not feeling that 100% every day, you can tune back into that feeling and remember it. And like, yeah, and then of course use the practices that you've learned. So and there's so many practices, and then like certain ones are going to resonate with you and be easier to actually enact. But I think that's so important, of like just creating those like sustainable shifts of like, you're not changing everything overnight, but it's not so much about even how the external world looks, but it's just how it feels to you, and like changing how you relate to it. So that's really, really beautiful. And Kai, how about you? I know that you just got off a second little trip, but how are you? How's your integration been back?
The timing of that the timing for me was great. The timing for us as a couple probably wasn't good, but I
should share what you did, because people.
Yeah, so
watching.
I went.
I gotta run to the bathroom.
Yeah, go for it.
I flew out to Montana, to Bozeman, Montana. Did 2 days of fly fishing, one on a lake and one in a stream, and it was wonderful. I had gone out there last year with 2 of my brothers, and while we were out there, we got the news that my father had passed away. So this was kind of a revisiting of, spending some time, with Dad virtually, or whatever you want to call it, but spiritually, and it was wonderful. Last year, after we heard the news, none of us could fish very good. This year, we tore it up. It was real focus on the fishing. Sure, Dad was watching us and stuff. But it was just really a good soul trip for me individually. But what was neat is when I'd call Laura at night, we'd have long conversations on the phone, which usually they're a lot shorter because we've got to get back to what we were doing.
Yeah.
But we spent more time on the phone, which was nice. I had longing to get back to her because I wanted to continue what we brought back with us from Sayulita. And it was a good stall point for me to come back from that. But then coming back, now I get back into it. And we've already had 2 meals at home here, which was kind of a rarity before this whole situation. And it was nice. She and I had
like
a meal
sit-down
together.
meals, like I'm cooking again.
Well, we're trying to replicate what we did there because we'd sit around and talk about the experiences, and that's really around that table is where we had the deepest conversations. And it wasn't necessarily always over a meal. Sometimes it's just over having a tea or something, or water or whatever, or some of that great flavored water she makes all day long.
Chef Laura.
She's awesome.
I wanted to bring her home. I'm still in touch with her. I want all her secrets. Yeah. She's family now.
Yeah.
And she's a beautiful lady with a beautiful soul and her talent. And she just filled our bodies with love by what she made.
Yeah, that's what she says. Like I love her so much. She's such a sweetheart. She's such an angel. But she's like, I just put love into every meal.
Yes.
Well, and I don't know where I missed this at, but I think it was day 4 or 5.
Yeah, you'd missed it.
When I realized I didn't realize Paco was her son.
Oh, that's so funny.
I mean, he's such a good, and I'm going to say good kid because I'm really an old guy, but he's such a great guy and stuff. And then I heard that. Wow, okay, now it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Super gentle. I know. I love them. I'm so glad that they're both there. Yeah, he sent me the pictures of you guys sunset horseback riding and galloping on the beach, and I was
amazing.
like, every day I was messaging him, "How are Laura and Kai doing?"
Yeah.
And luckily he got to do that with us, which isn't always the case.
But the horseback riding with him.
They had an open seat because
one of the other guests
couldn't make it, so he got to come with us, and it was great to spend that time with him.
Yeah.
Just got the feelings deeper, so it was great.
We wanted to.
Okay.
There's someone at the door, so you guys keep going. This is just light. I apologize.
Oh, we got the puppy.
But the integration in general has been good. Like Laura said, we're trying to be intentional to try to hold on to what we learned out there and exploit it while we're back here. Try to make sure that we're doing a good job with it.
Yeah.
And I've only been here a couple days to get adapted to it, but I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. I know that you were so concerned about Laura kind of leading up to the retreat, but just also like hoping to see that spark. So I just remember so clearly your words, like, if this gives me that glimmer, like that is just everything I'm looking for. So I'm so happy for you guys.
And it's given us that to both of us. She's still having issues with sleeping. We're trying to figure that out, and we're trying some of the stuff you've recommended, and hopefully maybe the sound bath tomorrow will help some and stuff. But eventually we'll get her back up to a good pattern, and it's just so essential for good health.
It's gonna take, I think the sleep, like especially if you're on a medication for that for a while, it's just gonna take a little while to regulate. But the more your nervous system feels safe and everything, and like my personal favorite, if you guys have a bathtub, is to do like Dead Sea salt or Epsom salt baths. Dead Sea salts are fantastic. You can order them online, and they are just so good for you and like so good for your nerves.
Yeah. And we have a hot tub too, and so maybe utilizing that too. But
I think that'd be great. And I'm sure I saw you guys do the cold therapy as well, but even just like doing a hot bath, cold shower, like that kind of stuff is really good for your nervous system strength and confidence and all those things. So I always notice that improves sleep a lot. So, but it's a journey. You're doing great. I'm sure that things will continue to improve. And I think keeping your eye on the horizon of this, sometimes things take a little bit more time, but being patient with yourself. And I'm so happy. Like the best thing that you said, I think, is like that you wake up each day feeling excited about life ahead and not feeling like,
like the days before I'd wake up, I wouldn't want to get out of bed, and I couldn't wait to get back to bed. Like That was my end game. Just push through, push through. And now it's like, wake up and experience life.
I think that's what so many people can relate to, is that feeling of like just not being present in their life and not feeling excited for what's coming, but just to feel
Yeah.
like engage, like in love with life again and in love with yourself and your partner. Like it's very hard to, even though you know you love someone, it's hard to feel that love when you're not even feeling it within, you know?
Yep.
And that can create some big distance. So the last big thing I wanted to touch on would be the MDMA therapy and the couples experience. So like, do you guys mind sharing a little bit about that day or what you experienced with that?
Yeah. So again, both of us are unfamiliar to the medicine, and you do a ceremony and you take a little pill, and our room on top of our room, you went outside, and then we had a private rooftop area.
I can't really call it.
I don't know what they call it.
But it was
Yeah.
a really cute little
Yeah.
thing.
This giant swing, and so we take it and we go up, and we have our wonderful magic water that Chef Laura makes, like this juice of, I don't know what it is. I miss it. And we're both sitting there and we're just kind of looking at each other like, do you feel anything? Do you feel anything? And then we had to pee. So we're like, okay, let's go back downstairs. So we went downstairs, and then we went and sat outside. And then all of a sudden, this immense
Just a flush.
peace,
Yeah.
just this peace came over you, and you felt heavy, like grounded, like you were actually in your body. And I looked over to Kai, and again, I know it's hard to describe, but I could see him. Like I could actually see my partner, and I could see and feel the love I have for him. Instead of, we tell each other we love each other all the time. We're very always together, like whenever we're anywhere, Kai always has a hand on me. We're very, but you do it out of habit. You know what I mean? Sometimes. And like, I know his hand's there, but I don't feel it. And we're sitting out there, and he goes, "You're too far away from me." And so I move closer and I put my feet up on him. And it's like, I just felt this connection and this love. And we talked for 3 hours.
It was at least 3 hours.
About hard stuff that maybe I wouldn't have shared. Like in a relationship, you could be scared to share something, worry about how the other person's going to take it or get defensive, or, because we have that human trait, but we talked. Like I would sit and I'd be like, okay, I want to share this. And I'd share it with love, and he would process it and
come back from a direction, come back from love to her. Whereas before we talk about the same subjects, but my process might get defensive, and I'd come back kind of from a position of, well, I know it may not be perfect, but this is why I was doing it. So, defending why I did it a certain way. And here it didn't matter. I just said, yeah, I did that. And I don't know if that was, it was weird. It was like, instead of it was a direct conduit into her, versus these waves kind of getting static and stuff in between them. And it was wonderful.
And we healed a lot of stuff that maybe in the past happened between our relationship, and we thought we had talked about it and moved on, but we actually really hadn't talked about it. We really hadn't, and we hadn't really explained how it felt to each of us. And so it was the most wonderful 3 hours of my life to build even more love. Like I thought I could not love this man anymore. It just made me love you more.
So I need some of that stuff. No, but it was, I guess it took all the second guessing and the preemptive, how am I going to answer it? All that confusion just went away. And you heard what she said. You actually heard what she said. And then without critiquing it or analyzing anything, you said what you felt. not what you analyze would be okay to say. It came out, and even if it was something that was, no, none of it was really conflictive, but everything she said to me and everything I said to her, I think we both knew was just coming from a place of love. We're doing the best we can. We love each other. We're just, take it for what I'm saying. And we did.
And we problem solved. We problem solved over things. I mean, and we talked about what we want going forward, like our life. How do we want, we've made this leap of faith. We've made this change. We're not going to stop the change. It's how do we want it going forward? I know when I came out of my first mushroom dosage or therapy, I remember saying to Kai across the room, we're going to fly, baby. Oh. And we're going to fly.
Well, the thing is, after this experience, not even knowing we were in a place, I mean, we knew we were in a perfect place, but why would you ever go back to the way it used to be now that you've been pulled up and looked down on it and thought, not only can it be so much better, it is so much better. And the only reason it hasn't been better is us. Mm-hmm. I mean, the stuff we've had, the stuff we think is important that isn't, the things we worry about that we shouldn't. And it's going to take time, and it's going to take
practice,
learning and practice and support from one another and understanding from one another. But the end game is so much better than the field we even used to play on.
Yeah, I thought we were a strong couple, like say at this level, coming home, we're up here. I mean, we just, we strengthened our love.
And I held her in very high regard from a respect standpoint before we went down there because of what she'd battled through in her life. That's one of the reasons I fell in love with her. I didn't know what she had dealt with before I started dating her. And then after she'd had the breakdown and things started coming out, I thought, how can this woman be the woman she is today after what happened to her so many years ago? So what would she be like if she could get rid of that stuff? I mean, because she's got the softest, kindest heart. I've always thought I've been kind of a nice guy, and so she puts me to shame, and she's half my size. But it's basically just to say that if this stuff can get flushed out and she can get the life she's always deserved, now I get to share in that. So there's some selfishness stuff here too, because it's when I met her, all I wanted to do was show her the world, because I wanted to see it too. And then the medications and stuff kind of kept her to where she just didn't have the energy to do it. And hopefully now we'll create the path together, but we'll get to the point where we can start doing things and there won't be apprehension and there won't be doubt and there won't be nervousness, because she's never needed me to come save her. After this trip, I've realized she's always had the ability to do it herself. Yeah. And I guess all this was to start with, I can't believe how proud I am of her. She did something harder than most people would ever attempt in their lifetime, and she did it with I think I had baggage. She had so much stuff that she dragged down there with her. But I swear to God, we flew at a higher altitude coming home. And it's because she was brave. She did it.
Was her angel wings powering the plane?
Right, that's right. But I could not. I don't even know how to thank Andrew and Roberta and Nora and Laura and Paco and Carly and Alex and and for you. I mean, I just, my gratitude. I don't know. I just send you guys love each day to thank you.
I screenshotted the message you saved me. I have a messages from loved ones folder on my phone, so I saved the message.
Good.
She's better at that than I am. I'll try to get into some messages.
Yeah, hi, where's my love message? No, I was kidding.
Yeah, I know. I'm not technical.
No. You guys are the sweetest. It's just so many quotes from this. I'm like, I just really hope other couples take the time and listen. And I know a lot of them do when they're thinking about. So, kind of on that note, like, well, I just have one or two quick questions left. But what would you say to other couples who are kind of on the fence, like thinking about this, but not sure if they should do it? Like, what would your advice be to them?
Go. Go. Like,
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is you don't know what you're missing until you,
Yeah.
and you may never figure it out. But if you don't figure it out, if you don't see how much better it can be, you've sold yourself short. I mean, without even knowing it. I mean, people think their life is perfect until they realize how much better it could be.
It's almost like if couples really want to start living, they need to go. I mean, this, and I know we know you've got responsibilities. It's hard to make the time. It's financially, all these things. But like, I mean, even Kai said, to me, if someone said, okay, for $1 million, I'm going to give you this experience, Kai's like, I would pay it in a heartbeat. It's that worth it. So yeah, I wish we could give this to all of our family and our friends and our couples to experience.
I think just planting that seed in their hearts and having you guys just show them that transformation and sharing your journey. And you can always
Yep.
listen to this recording, but I think that's like it plants and waters a little seed within them that like they are worth it. And it's like worth investing in yourself to find out how to see your life from that higher perspective and how to live from that place and how to let go of everything that's holding you back. And I think the great thing about it is on the other side of the retreat, the things that felt really hard to let go of, suddenly they're not even things you're interested in anymore. It's like, oh, that habit, like that's not who I am anymore. So why would I want to do that? Like I've even noticed it with since I've done the retreat, like with my phone, I'm like, if I'm not working, I don't want to be around my phone. I just want to be like with my loved ones and like just connecting, like that's just the most precious thing. And just so many little habits where you're like, oh, I could do this better, this better.
Yeah, it changes. Or like even in the mornings when I'd start my day, I'd make my coffee and then I'd turn on the TV right away. You know what I mean? To watch the news or a talk show while I was doing stuff. When I got home, the first morning I came down to do that habit and I turned it on and I was like, this is just noise. It's just noise. And so I put music on, relaxing music instead. And it was a beautiful morning. It just like all those little habits that you think you do, it's just a shift.
Yeah. That's what I like to do in the morning too. I play like the meditation music and I'm like, it's
Yep.
just calming.
Yes.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you choose to start your day like that versus on TV? Because it's all just people screaming for attention.
Exactly. And like the one that needs your attention is mostly the one inside there and then the one inside your partner. So
Yep.
yeah. Okay, beautiful. So last thing, anything else that you want to share? Anything else that you're taking away from this retreat? I think you both covered everything so beautifully, but just any last words of what you received or any last words of wisdom to anyone watching?
It's funny because you asked me that question now, and throughout the day, I'm going to be like, oh, I could have answered it this way. Or it just comes to you and comes and goes like all your experiences. You just keep feeling it throughout the day. I just think the whole experience was beautiful. I think the way it's set up and the schedule for each day, it all wraps around learning to live again and love yourself and the yoga and the ice baths and all these things. Like we talked about, like here, we're in Minnesota and like, if, I know people do like ketamine up here or these things, but you go into like a clinic and do these treatments and then you come home, doing it and actually getting away to do it is so much more beneficial. Am I just don't think that right?
I don't think you'd have if I had an appointment set up to go to a clinic or a doctor and have a, here, take this stuff and we're going to watch it a little bit and then you're going to go home and, we'll see how it works. You're not in the right framework of mind to do it and accept and absorb everything it's going to potentially offer to you, especially if it's these plant-based medicines. The fact that you're in this beautiful place that doesn't feel familiar because you're doing something unfamiliar and you're taking something that you've never taken before. You're around people you've never met before. So everything feels a little bit disjointed, which I think is good. But then you get there and that disjointment, it just falls by the wayside. All of a sudden you feel like, why do I feel so much like I actually belong here? I've been here for an hour and a half and it feels like 7 days. How am I going to put up with 7 days here? Like, oh, I'm never going to want to leave. It feels great. How do you mimic that here? You can't. I don't know.
You've got to, like another recommendation, you've got to take yourself out of your surroundings and have these therapies to build. And the amount of love and safety that you feel for people you have just literally met. Like when we pulled up, and I saw, the beauty through the door. And then I met with Nora and Roberta and Paco, and they give me hugs. I just started crying away.
She walked to the side and started crying. It was quiet.
Because I felt home. I felt love. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah. And it's funny. I mean, I'm looking at it a little different, but if you didn't unplug us from here, because everybody's got their habits and I'm comfortable in these surroundings, right? You don't want to be taken away from my normal surroundings and habits and stuff. But probably 40 to 80% of those are not necessarily good habits. And so you've got to unplug yourself from what's normal and comfortable, I guess, is what you think is comfortable because you've done it for a long time. Doesn't mean it's good, doesn't mean it's productive, but it's comfortable. That stuff had to be taken away from us for us to be able to open up because now we're doing something else comfortable. We're going to take this stuff we've never done and we're supposed to experience these things we don't know how to experience. I've never experienced stuff like that. But everything about you becomes open to it because you're trusting the staff, you're trusting the facility, you're trusting the medicine. And it was, in our case, it was easier because we talked to people that actually had been there, family members. And so you open yourself up to something that normally people would probably have a lot of stop signs and a lot of barriers to entry for that stuff to come in and to really feel and experience what we truly felt and experienced while we were there.
Oh, and the other thing is we've taken them home with us. Like I'm still in contact with, Chef Laura, Alex, and Carly, and and Steffi, the shaman, who she's amazing.
She was an angel to this little lady.
She was my angel.
And Carly, right?
And but I'm working with Steffi right now because she provides other work to help me integrate back into this, and the family we met of those that were seeking therapy, we have a group Snapchat and we support each other still. And we're going to go to California in June and hopefully see Ron, who we met, and Brandon, who lives in Italy. His family, I think, is from Missouri.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Brandon, if that's wrong.
No, Missouri was where Andrew's from.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, he's from the States. But we're already planning to have him come see us. I mean, we're just...
I want to have all you guys come up to our cabin up north. It's a little bit different experience from where we were, but it's pine trees and mosquitoes. But
yeah.
I'd love it.
That sounds good. Invitation accepted.
Yeah. Well, Jeff and Brenda will be there too, so you'll see them all.
Yep. Awesome. Well, that's so sweet. It's so important to have those connections. And when we look at longevity and health, one of the top 4 indicators of longevity is relationships and those close connections. And it's not just about people that you see all the time, but it's those deeper, intimate connections of people where you can open your heart. And I think with the MDMA, one of the cool things is that it shows you a newer baseline for emotional intimacy, not just with your partner, but with anybody of oh, if I can go to those deeper places within myself and be less defensive and more observant and better listener, the more like opportunities there are for learning from other people's experiences, because
Yeah,
we all see things different. So there's sometimes there is overall truth in certain situations, but there also is just different ways people experience things. And so when we can understand that, it's like, oh, okay, I could see how you'd feel that way. And it doesn't mean I'm wrong. It just means this is how you felt. And I can give you love and compassion for feeling that way. So I think it's an amazing baseline. And you guys are a beautiful, shining example of when you put your faith and trust and follow kind of this more positive path and like spiral upwards, it's going to
yeah,
take better place. It's not always easy. You're going to have to see things about yourself and what wasn't working. But on the other side is so much love and joy and connection. And you just feel like a more authentic version of yourself, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yep,
It's like you're
yep,
just more real. And then you can
yep.
more, feel like you can receive more love because you're actually who you are. So rather than something else. So thank you guys so much for
You're
everything you
welcome.
shared and for just being so brave. And I just, yeah, I was sending you love like every day leading up to the retreat, during the retreat, after the retreat. And it's so nice to see you guys and see how you've
Yeah,
like kind of blossomed.
we felt you there with us. So,
Next time I'll be there together.
yes, we're already talking about going back. So,
Well, we'll see you soon. You'll have to coordinate. I'll make sure to be there this time. Well, love you guys and thank you so much. And we'll definitely see you guys soon.
all right,
Okay,
thank you.
Callie, thanks.
Thank you.